Thoughts arise as words, but of words that arise, there is a wordless seeing, a wordless awareness. Once again, thoughts appear, they come and go as words. They also appear as images, but for the sake of simplicity for today's video, they arise as words. There's a narration in the language of your geographical region. There is a narration in the voice of your body, a mental speaking that arises in the form of words. But of these words, there is a wordless seeing. We have to establish ourselves there. How do we establish ourselves there? First and foremost, you have to stop taking yourself to be thoughts. In order to observe thoughts without judgment, without interest, you have to see thoughts from a subtler place. In order to see thoughts from a subtler place, you have to stop taking yourself to be thoughts. Otherwise, you cannot go subtler, right? So, what we have to do is recognize that I am not thoughts. So, here and now, don't wait for this realization to happen. Here and now, recognize that you are not the thinking that is appearing in the mind. You don't even know what the next thought will be. Even when you say, oh, I'm choosing to think my next thought, whatever you feel that you are choosing to think, it's also just the next thing that appears in the mind. It's just the next thought that appears in the mind with the notion, with another thought that says, I chose this thought. Truth is, you don't know when the next thought will appear or what it will say. You are not thoughts. Thoughts are arising in your experience, just like the sound of my voice. Coming, going, arising, passing. You don't take the sound of my voice to be you. You don't take it to be your doing. You don't take it to be yours. Just like that, recognize here and now, first and foremost, that you are not thoughts. A thought may be arising and saying, I am not my thoughts. But even that voice is not you. That is what we have to start seeing. You are not this voice. So, is there a need to mentally say anything to yourself? You are not the one who says things to yourself. You do not use words. And I know this sounds crazy, but what you are, right, that observes words, it doesn't use words. Words appear in its awareness, in its seeing, like the sound of my voice coming and going, but it observes, right? Observing is without words. Observing doesn't mean to think. Observing means to see plainly, without concept, without description. To think means to describe, to interpret, to conceptualize. To observe means to see, to know, to be aware, without any vested interest, without any notion, without any description, without any judgment. Just see. So you don't have to become this seeing. This seeing is already there. You are already that. But first and foremost, we have to take that step and be willing to stop taking ourselves to be thoughts. Here you automatically gain a vast new freedom to be able to see thoughts from a subtler place. So for the moment, whatever thought arises and whatever it says, notice that you are not that thought. Don't take yourself to be that thought. Even if thought arises and says, oh, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, am I doing this right? Even that thought is not you. It's not your voice. It's not your doing. But the fact is, you are aware of that thought. You're already observing thought without judgment. But do recognize yourself as the awareness of that thought. You are aware of that thought, are you not? You saw it's coming and going. So recognize yourself as the already there awareness that is seeing the coming and going of thoughts. You cannot really observe thoughts because the moment you try to observe thoughts, you are thoughtless. You are left as thoughtless awareness, and there's no thought present. This is because in the moment you actually try to observe, thinking vanishes. The moment you step into being thinking again and start speaking, now thinking is there. So the moment you actually observe thought without interest, the moment you try to observe thought, thought is gone. And you are left as thoughtless awareness. Dwell here. From here, you start to gain clarity and insight into the workings of the mind, and the identification where the mind starts to go. When you step back as the awareness of thought, you may recognize what thought was just projecting, what thought was just thinking about, but there's no further commentary on that. That which observes thoughts is not offering commentary on what it is observing. Recognize that. That which observes thought is not offering commentary on what it is observing. Observing is without commentary, without doubt, without description. Be that. Notice how that observing has no fear, no resistance to anything, no desire of its own. All of those things, fear, desire, resistance, are also thought, observed. Emotion, observed. To observe thoughts without interest, without judgment, you have to be the awareness. You have to recognize yourself as that awareness, which sees thoughts without words, without thinking. Thinking happens in your seeing, the seeing which is free from thinking. The seeing does not think. Thoughts come and go in seeing. Stop taking yourself to be the thinking or to be the doer of the thinking. Let thinking happen, but keep recognizing yourself as the seeing or the seer of the thinking coming and going. And you begin to grow in clarity about your true nature. You gain the capacity to recognize what thoughts we're just thinking about without further pursuing them or being hooked to them, compelled by them to go in this direction and that direction. You gain the capacity to just drop thoughts. The practice of meditation is to be that seeing, wordless, thoughtless, timeless, impersonal. Stay as that. Stay as that. Keep returning to being that. The whole puzzle of mind identification begins to be solved. If you have questions on this, comment them down below or join our free community and ask there. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helped. See you next time.